My life for ire indeed. I am Maynard, with me is Pig to continue the broadcast of WCS ANZ Challenger. How you doing, man? Welcome to the casting desk. Good to have you on this side of the desk.
Hells yeah, the first time I've been down here in Australia casting since, I don't know, maybe hopping on the desk in like a 2012 ACL or something.
Yeah, wow. I just realized just now it has actually been that long, hasn't it?
It's crazy. You know, I miss so many of the big Australian lands we've had over the past few years and stuff, so it's nice to kind of get down here, get to cast some games.
Something outside of PvZ Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Something with a little bit of, you know, maybe some tournament integrity, a little bit less booze fueled action, a bit more prize money and all that sort of stuff on the line as well, man.
It's just slightly more professional here, but only just slightly.
A little bit.
Than the tournament, the barbecue at your apartment. So we have got our next series. It is going to be Probe coming up here against meomaika, the Thunder from down in is it Thailand? No,
Vietnam.
No, Vietnam.
Yep.
That's right. Wow. So the Vietnamese Zerg Wonder here, an incredibly aggressive, incredibly creative Zerg, I gotta say, is like the nicest thing I can think of when I think about meomaika's play. But that's not in this matchup though, Pig.
It's interesting, right? Because it is going to be ZVP, and against Probe, who's kind of this solid as a rock guy, it's going to be tough. But I feel like almost it's kind of the norm for Zergs to try and surprise the Protoss a little bit, throw some curveballs at them. It's very much a matchup where you've got Zerg trying to surprise the Protoss, and I don't know, I want to talk more about meomaika because he's such an odd player, right? Like, you've got kind of your cheesy spectrum of strategies, and then you've got meomaika, and he like goes so far beyond that people kind of discount his choices.
It, yeah.
He has, man. Like, he's so good at surprising his opponents because he does these things which no one else does. He's kind of developed his own playstyle almost in isolation. So he's kind of come into this sphere where everyone copies each other's strategies. We have our own kind of understanding, and he's like, no, man. I'm just going to do a slow Zergling all in because why not? No one else does it.
And the general strategy for a lot of our players, for you guys that know, like primarily the practice for our really good players in the region is to play on Korean ladder and just to get really high up that Korean ladder, because our ping as from Australia is not too bad there, depending on where you are in your ISP and blah 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 blah. But it's a really good place to practice. It's the best and most competitive ladder in StarCraft 2. And meomaika, I'm not sure where he practices, but
I would imagine he'd be on there every day, right? He's gonna be great in those games, man.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, he's got a new creative style, but you just don't see in other tournaments. So we are blessed to have him against the WCS ANZ Season 1 champion Probe. Got himself a trip to Austin, turned some heads there as well, getting some scalps. I remember Probe taking out Petite Drogo as well. Yeah. So he, made a bit of a name for himself over there in Austin and got through the groups, but didn't quite get further than that. And meomaika, I'd love to see his form right now in ZVP. I honestly have never seen a ZVP from meomaika. I've seen plenty of his ZVZ. ZVP, though, is a big question mark for me. In the bottom left here of Proxima Station, it is the player in question from Vietnam. This is meomaika. He's won 1F Probe.
Going to bring his own flavor here, and he's going to need to because he is going up against this guy in the top right-hand side, the red Protoss. It is Probe.
That's right.
Representing OSC Root, of course.
Yep, one of the most represented teams in this tournament, if not the most represented team in this tournament, with Demilove as well, Probe, and I guess... This guy has been the Protoss hope for our region. He is literally the only Protoss to get out of this Premier League or the new Challenger system that we have for WCS. It's always been Aegis or Zergs.
Exactly.
And actually Seether as well joining the, he actually won the season for DreamHack Montreal, I believe, for WCS Montreal, but opted not to go in the end. And he's in this bracket as well.
Yeah, he's a big question mark because when he's on fire, he is just unstoppable. But really, it is so interesting here, to see these two players go head-to-head. And I don't think people talk enough about how much of an awesome person Probe is as well, because this guy runs his own leagues online. He runs his own tournaments. He's basically, running all the regular tournaments in Melbourne while being a full-time student and representing Australia as the champion in WCS. And it's like, doing all of that is not easy, guys. Like, StarCraft takes so much practice to be good, and somehow Probe finds the time to squeeze that in every single day.
Yeah, I mean, you and I both stream and work in StarCraft right now, and I find it very hard to have enough hours in the day to do what I want to do. And it is all StarCraft related, and it's just insane to me that a kid that has these many responsibilities can also manage to maintain this high-level skill that he has. And it looks like he is going to be some proxy tech here, looking like probably a Stargate.
Cool way to open up here. You know, Oracles are so popular at the moment, and really you don't expect a very fast Oracle at the sort of timing which this one will probably be hitting. Of course, we are jumping ahead assuming it's that, but yeah, I mean, we know what it's going to be. In that position, that Oracle is going to get into the main base so quickly. And this is fantastic because even if you lose the Stargate after that, as long as you keep the 2 Oracles alive, a lot of Protoss players aren't looking to use any more units out of that Stargate until the late game. So even if it gets sniped down by some Zerglings, you don't really mind as long as you've got that Revelation giving you vision all over the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a great utility and a very common opening as well in ZVP, but generally the starport is made back in the main, so it's going to be a little bit earlier. Could potentially get a bit of drone damage here. See that you have your regular safety spore timings in ZVP, which aren't which are thrown out the window when the Stargate's made this close to you to the Zerg base, and a single Adept coming in here just to poke around the front and see what she can get done.
Of course, meomaika did get a very fast 3rd hatchery up this game, being very economic. So if meomaika can defend this Oracle, we'll be in a good spot, but that's going to be a big ask. That Oracle already on the way, no extra queens on the way, no spores on the way. meomaika, I believe, has an Overlord in Probe's main base. I'm not sure if he actually saw that there's a lack of tech. Like, there might be alarm bells ringing saying, where's the second pylon right now? meomaika's got to be thinking, oh, something weird might be happening, but can he connect the dots in time? And it looks like it's going to be a little too late, I think. Just droning.
He's going to lose a few drones here for sure. I mean, like you said, he does have the 3 hatcheries production. He has been droning like a madman, so he does have plenty of drones, but he's definitely going to lose a few here. Oracle coming in, just a single queen for defense, no spores, and no second queen be able to come up here. There's no crease or anything to speak of, so tons of drones going down here for this proxy Oracle of Probe.
Very nicely done. 7 worker kills there for Probe. A very nice start. Of course, this is an interesting scenario where because meomaika was so greedy, he's not actually down too crazily in workers just yet. If he can re-drone very drastically, then he still might be in an okay position. It is still recoverable. But he has to get this extra spore up, and it's not ready in time.
No.
Oh, the second Oracle here just going to really, digging deep into the wound, and 4 more workers do go down. That Oracle does get heavily bruised.
It's quite low.
Oh, but finds a few more main-hiding drones. Gets 2 more of those.
Hey, man, they're not my drones. We got the Lings coming down here, finding that proxy, and they will sort it out. Now, they're actually, I think, 2 Oracles and a Phoenix got made here by Probe before that Stargate got taken down. So, there's the 2 Oracles there. And this actually could be followed up with a nice push with the Adepts if Probe wants to go for that. It's something that I've been seeing a little bit in PvZ, is just like a couple Oracles with Adept pressure, with Resonating Glaives, putting hurt on the expansion of the Zerg. And Probe's actually getting his 3rd Nexus up at the same time.
Oh, yeah, this is great. And look, notice how he only brings, I think, 5 Adepts to the front. Oh, he might have just pulled 1 to block off the ramp, but he's going to do his best to not show every single Adept to meomaika here because he wants to surprise him. The Phoenix denies the scouting, and he's going to keep warping in Adepts off those gateways, and Resonating Glaives is going to finish, and there's going to be a really nice pressure timing, but even more damage being found before that. Does find a queen, but that Oracle, it escapes!
Man, that Oracle not paying for its sins is going to get away here. And still no queen at this back hatchery either, just a spore crawler there for meomaika. And he's just making Lings right now.
The Baneling Nest has finished, and with that mass Ling production, remember these Adepts do have 10 less hit points. That's, 3 less Zergling hits to kill them. Sounds kind of small, but it actually does make a big difference. So if meomaika can surprise those Adepts when they move out with a big surround, it could do well, but here we go. The Adepts are moving out of the map at the same time as the Zerglings. The Banelings aren't ready yet. Will the Zerglings get a nice surround? I don't know if they've got the numbers. The Adepts coming forward completely unafraid right now. Probe realizes that is a horde of Zerglings, and he knows he needs to get home to defend that 3rd base.
Yeah, the Adept shading forward here, splitting as well as he can, but the Lings are locking them in place here. The Oracle's actually helping quite a bit, killing a lot of these Lings. A reinforcement here for Probe, and he does have a couple overcharges on this Mothership core. There goes the first one.
That split-second split from Probe, managing to only take about 4 Adepts, taking the Baneling hits.
Insane.
And he actually got out with like 4 or 5 Adepts, warped in more, the overcharge was good, the Oracles were good, and now look at that worker differential, Maynard.
Yeah, that's huge. The Protoss with a massive advantage here. meomaika are going to try and catch up by getting a 4th hatchery at the gold location. But, Probe is getting 4 more gateways here, Pig, with that Robo, and he's going to have a pretty strong-looking army in a few minutes here. Oh boy, +1 on the way as well. There's those gateways going down in the back pocket natural of Proxima. 2 Oracles with the shields recharged here, ready to join the fight, looking for more drone kills. Or possibly just to scout what's going on.
I do wonder what Probe's going to go for next here. He's got this great control with the Oracles, has a good core of Adepts out, but with only a ton of Gateways and a Robo going down, part of me thinks he's just going to push out with one of these big kind of Neeb-style, just Adept Sentry armies, add a few Immortals in, and just kind of keep pushing meomaika before he can really get up a huge critical mass. It's going to be interesting to see if he goes with that. He does finally drop that Templar Archives. He's got a Prism out on the map, and meomaika looking to continue posturing aggressively.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be a tough nut to crack here. Probe's locked down pretty tight, and these are two Oracles actually helping out a lot as well. He is morphing them out of vision of Probe, could maybe catch him unawares. But yeah, you're absolutely right. We got Charge on the way here with Templar Archives. Looks like a Charge Lot Archon follow-up here.
Oh, look at this preparation from Probe.
Oh, wow. Taking no damage. And meanwhile, he's going to kill this fourth hatchery here. That is just huge damage here for Probe.
Careful, calculated aggression is the name of the game here for Probe. Not overextending, knowing meomaika likes to build a lot of fighting units, but look at this pre-spread. It is fantastic. The Banelings cannot find the best detonations. They do get 4 or 5 Adepts. The Zerglings look like they might finally have enough, but those Oracle laser beams, Maynard, they just make those Zerglings disappear.
They sure do, and this hatchery does go to the Adept and the double Oracles here. Such a strong army composition, and just with the last bit of units, he manages to get that hatchery kill. And meomaika is going from bad to worse here as there's a big warp in the main. The Hydras are starting to pop out, but they're not here yet.
All I can see right now is that aliens meme guy's face saying Adepts.
Yeah.
Adepts right now are just doing it because, you know, meomaika, he fell behind after he couldn't really deal with those early Adept pressures, and there's just so much economy for Probe behind this. As long as he keeps the pressure up, there's no roaches out. There's no way for meomaika to efficiently deal with this. Hydras and Banelings are not good against this in small numbers.
You're absolutely right. The Hydras have all hatched, though, and he does have them on the field, but it just seems like he's a beat behind Probe right now. He's ready for the super late-game army. He's got Storm on the way here, halfway done, and he's just getting ready to make the big death push by the looks of things. He's just macroing back at home on these 3 Nexus, with a 4th one just being dropped now.
Compliments to meomaika for keeping his supply as high as it is, but it's still off a very small economy. So we really are seeing the role reversal, and it's all about meomaika finding that magical engagement. He's got to find the good Baneling hits, and I think Probe's just doing such a good job of not letting him focus on that. He's just saying, no, you've got to keep defending your bases. I'm going to kill a drone. I'm going to kill another drone here. Keep dropping, keep the pressure up, and at home, he just keeps on working on that perfect army. Storm, Archons, and Immortals.
Yeah, and Charge Lot's being warped in as well to tank for that army. There's one Ling setting off those stasis wards. Second one here ready for Probe. Stasis ward, of course, another great way to catch Zerg unawares if they're going a little bit too ham.
And they used so much lately. It's actually crazy. There's been like a revolution where Protoss players have figured out how to play like the perfect defensive macro style. You know, watching the EU challenges just, 12 hours ago or so, watching Showtime do a masterclass of that against sort of. Just some really real power shown with those stasis traps.
Just a single queen here. The Hydra's not able to kill that Prism before a giant warp in with Charge Lots taking the front lines here for these Adepts as they continue to do damage from the back. Looks like drones and Hydras going down. He will clean this up, but again, more hits to his economy, which he really can't afford. He's down 20 workers and more here against the Protoss, who's now on 4 Nexus.
This is the dream scenario as a Protoss player. When you're going for this style, you're building a lot of gas-intensive units. High Templar, Immortals, Archons. So you always end up with an excess of minerals. Ooh!
No Prism this time.
No more Prism. And that Prism, I mean, being able to get him, what, 2-3 warp-ins before that? That was such a great way for Probe to trade off his minerals for those Hydras, drones, Zerglings, get some value out of them, buy time. And that's important because otherwise those Chancellors just don't help that much in your main army. But Probe here, he's found a way to dispose of those less efficient units, use them, get a bit of value out of them, and at home, his big army is just looking more and more powerful.
Oop, getting one of the Oracles there. Second one does escape. Manages to get a Revelation tag on most of those Hydras before it went down. There they are, heading towards the front here. Storm says, get out of here. It's Protoss territory.
Come and have your bath. I always like to think of Hydras as just those children who really don't want to get in the bathtub, and High Templar are just the angry mom. She's going to find a way to trick you into that bathtub at some point or another.
That's right. She's going to get you in there. She'll lure you in. Creep spread here from meomaika starting to get up through the middle. At Probe, just with a little bit of a charge lot sort of, patrol here. Seeing what he can get done, keeping meomaika honest as he looks around for, with army movements here. Keeping a tag on that army because he did lose that one Oracle. Lurkers being spotted here as well.
Still no Baneling speed. That's not something you want to fight with as meomaika right now. That's a Storm magnet, that is.
Yeah.
Probe is easily going to land Storms on that if they go into a pitched battle. But meomaika can't give up too much ground either. Has to try and keep Probe back.
First Storm going down here, but there's more where that came from. There's a full energy High Templar in this ball here of Probe. So many Immortals. If they get in range of hatcheries, hatcheries are going to evaporate. Oh, those Storms are huge. Archon's taking the front line. That Storm not so great, but we have plenty more left here on these High Templar. Another massive Storm on the Hydras on the south there. Force field's going down. Storm's trying to hit those Banelings. A lot of the Banelings actually are connecting with the Protoss army, and the Immortals are getting quite low here. But it just seems like Probe can reinforce this a little bit too easily back at home.
Yeah, actually some surprisingly good slow Baneling hits there, or as the Baneling speed kind of did finish up, getting in on top of Probe's army. But in the end of it, he keeps his core of Immortals alive. His Chargelot's coming in doing a little bit more damage. Probe still has more money. And, I mean, at this point, it's time for a nice tasty entree. It's time to look at the supply, because there is an epic lead for Probe right now, and he's going carriers. Oh my god, Maynard.
Right. One of the greatest commentators in the history of esports says the soup never lies. And it's very, very true here. We got a 50 supply advantage for the Protoss, and a lot of that is in army. And also his upgrades. Look, we got 1-1 on the way for the Zerg here for melee and for range. Meanwhile, +2 is done for the Protoss, and that's a heavy hitting Protoss army here. Oof. Starting to get nice high-tech units thrown back in here. 15 Banelings on the way for meomaika, but I mean, once the Hydras go down, there is no anti-air, and we have carriers being made 3 at a time here by Probe back at home for that big endgame death bowl.
Probe really putting on a masterclass on Proxima. He is a guy who, you know, he likes this macro style. He likes to pressure and defend and just slowly zone around the map, gaining advantages. And this is such a great map for it. There's only really one frontal path into your 3 bases. There was no chance for meomaika to create the chaos and gain those edges that he's normally looking for. And because he wasn't able to find that, Probe has just gained little advantages time and again. Never gambling, never taking a big risk, always just doing these very certain, small, calculated counterattacks.
Yeah.
And, yeah, look at this. Oracle is still alive. It's done about 12 different tags at this point. Just a great job from Probe all around.
And these charge lots getting in here and actually killing, I mean, not killing, but soaking up about, God, was that like 15 Banelings? There was a ton of Banelings there
like
from
a lot
meomaika.
there.
Yeah, like a lot. And another charge lot warping in the main. meomaika getting stretched really thin here. He doesn't have a whole lot of army to be able to split up here.
This is fantastic play from Probe, and this is the real evolution against Hydra Baneling we've seen from Protoss players lately, where they say, you know what? The one way I can lose to a Hydra Baneling army is trying to force the issue on creep with my main army. If I do that, there's always a chance those Banelings connect with my High Templar, 1 or 2 of my Storms miss, and suddenly I can lose the game despite having the better army. So Protoss players are saying, you know what, how can I make sure I don't lose from this position? Let's make carriers. Let's make a mothership and just keep harassing over and over like this to buy time. And Probe's army, once he gets to 6, 7 carriers, that's the point where he will probably push and just say, okay, you're still on Hydra Baneling, you just can't beat this.
And he also is splitting up Dark Templar here to go to the several hatcheries of meomaika to just split him even further with cloaked harassing units. So the Dark Shrine getting dropped here as he just completes the Protoss tech tree. He has absolutely everything except for, I think, you know, a robotics bay. But he just seems to have everything else here. DT coming in here, getting a fresh drone line. No Spore Crawler at that base. A big warp in here in the back pocket, natural as well. Has to evacuate all the drones here. Things going from bad to worse for meomaika. Losing drones as well all over the field while trying to get his army up. He's got 2-2 on the way here. Well, I guess +2 melee and +2 attack here for the Zerg army. No armor upgrades for either player, but God, it's just meomaika's in a situation where he just needs to do something. He needs to get damage done to Probe. But how does he do that, Pig?
He's looking real desperate right now. He wants to push with this army. A couple of carriers in the open. One of them will go down, but massive storms.
Oh, man. Oh my God, those storms are incredible. The entire army of meomaika getting the weather here, and down it goes. GG, Probe getting game number 1. Like you said, that was a masterclass in PvZ.
Those storms, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing Zerg Nightmares are made of right there.
You could kind of tell that meomaika had checked out at that point where he's just like, just storm me. It's like he wasn't microwaving back. He's just like, you have too much. This is it.
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
know, you're on a 45 drone economy and your opponent's maxed on carriers and you're like, it's, you know, small edges, small advantages gained throughout that game. But we have to remember, that was Probe's map pick. It's always going to be the Protoss player that picks Proxima Station. So the next one should be something which meomaika is a lot happier to play on. Maybe something like, Ooh, depends on his own flavor, but something like Abyssal Reef, maybe Ascension to Aya, something where the bases start to get a little bit more spread out, and there's all sorts of weird angles you can kind of surprise your opponent
maybe
on.
Odyssey or something like that. That'd be
Yeah.
a cool pick there for meomaika. But yeah, like that was a very economic focused game there for meomaika. Like I'm used to seeing the aggression from that guy. Mind you, that's not in ZVP. Maybe in ZVP he likes to play the longer game, but I really don't know if you want to play the longer game against someone like Probe.
Yeah.
It's the big question mark here.
I feel like he was forced to there. It was kind of like,
it is
this isn't my plan, but Protoss is just defending everything well while harassing me. You know, the proxy oracle, right? That surprised him. It did great damage. That was a great kind of curveball for Probe. It's not something you expect. meomaika was caught unawares, and from there, he didn't really have any window to say, I'm going to be the one attacking you. I'm going to be the one taking the pressure over to you. So I think Probe just dictated the game from there, and that's a good way to keep control of a player who's very hard to predict. Someone like meomaika, you're afraid of what he can pull out of his bag of tricks. Well, if you hit him first, keep the pressure on.
Just kill 7 drones.
Yeah. Come in, kill another 6, you know, easy peasy from there, right?
Yeah, it's just like that. It's just easy peasy. StarCraft, easiest game in the world. But we're gearing up to get map number 2 here. Like, we were just talking about potential map picks. I'm really interested to see what the vetoes were, because I'm actually really excited to see what the second map is going to be here. I have a lot to talk about when we get down to it. But currently, Probe with a 1-0 map lead with a very, very one-sided game one. I have to be honest, that was very, very one-sided. But like you said, he got that lead really early in the game and then just kind of never lost it.
Exactly.
Like he was pre-splitting. He's like, I know that there's going to be a lot of Zlings here. There's probably going to be Banelings as well. So we saw like in his third base location, every adept had like, you know, 3 or 4 hex of space between each single one of them, and they just spread out as well as possible.
Oh yeah, just little things as well, right? It's a big confidence boost having a game like that. That little Baneling counter. And Probe was attacking the gold base, and he like looked back, dropped the perfect force field, overcharged instantly, killed 6 Banelings, and then just like looked back and had the perfect split in his adept army. And that's the sort of thing, if you look at the Twitter feed of Probe this morning, you wouldn't really be expecting this sort of great reactions in the face of aggression. But
he's a good one to follow. I think it's a Root Probe or Probe SC2.
It's actually just SC2 Probe now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's changed a few times. I always get to remember this because I'm always trying to find the pro gamers' Twitters, and I'm like, it's changed again. But yeah, he's
a good one to follow.
Yeah.
I remember him saying, he's like, oh, hopefully I get a bracket without any Terran, Zergs, or Protosses in it. It's my only chance this weekend. My God, this kid.
It's crazy.
And that's the exact attitude he had last season as well. He actually did a tweet where he's like, it's a waste of time playing this game. And I quote retweeted it after he won WCS ANZ season 1. I'm like, come on, man.
Oh my gosh. The comedy that comes out of him. Yeah, he actually thought he got knocked out last season in the open qualifier, not realizing there was a lower bracket.
Yeah, that's right.
And then he came through and won the entire qualifier and won the entire thing, went through to Jönköping, to Austin, had a great run there. So Probe definitely, you know, he's a player who goes back and forth in terms of his confidence, but somehow on game day, he always brings it out.
Oh, it is going to be Odyssey as the map pick here for meomaika. In the bottom right here is the player in question from 1F Pro from Vietnam. It says meomaika.
That's a very manly introduction, Maynard.
Manly introductions are the only introductions I know how to do. This is Pro!
Spawning in the top left-hand side of the map. And we're going to have a gentleman's introduction. Representing OSC Root, it is Probe.
This colours are so in season. But yeah, so
I was thinking about Blood Boil back on maps. You were saying this one, and obviously I'm pretty sure Probe just like vetoes Blood Boil straight off the bat.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That gold base, I get an expansion in the back with only 1 gas. Guess what resource Protoss care about? It's gas. I don't care about 2 extra mineral patches.
Yeah.
So I think counting that one out, this one makes a lot of sense, right? Because there's still a gold base that's quite accessible for meomaika to get towards. Of course, the big mineral boost on the gold minerals, you know, they mine a lot quicker, are going to be something which Zerg players are always hungry for. And just in general, your bases start to get quite spread out, and there's this big kind of wide yet somehow choked up ramp area between the natural and the third, and especially it depends on where you take your third as the Protoss. You've either got a really narrow ramp to go and defend it, or there's the big wide open area, and both are kind of potentially very problematic positions for Protoss. So we'll get to see some of that a little bit later on.
Yeah, it is a pretty
progress.
open third. It's like the Newkirk precinct third, but like on steroids. It's like a lot of extra openings here. There's actually a high ground very close to the third as well. Yeah. That's you know, a little bit rough, similar to Newkirk precinct, but. We actually, speaking of that little high ground bit in the natural, I kind of feel like, you know, this is a really good position. If you're the attacking army and you get a contain here, it's very hard to break to come from the third and the natural. But that thing aside, we do have this first links here from meomaika coming across the map, coming to have a look at the wall.
Yeah, of course, 2 Adepts are already on the way, but those Zerglings will get in just before they pop. The thing is, those Adepts will be able to save the pylon in time. So I don't think Probe needs to pull probes. He's not even going to bother walling off. He's going to say, come in and then taste my tasty, tasty spiked frisbees. The Adepts are going to have something to say about that. But actually, a lot of damage going down in that pylon. Looks like me and Probe both misjudged it. Oh my!
Oh no!
1 Adept gets out just barely in time. Otherwise, this would have been a disaster. But
yeah.
she will defend this, thankfully.
Oh my god, that is a clutch Adept right here. And so that means that he doesn't just straight up die to slow legs.
Oh, the pylon positioning! I was wondering. I did this yesterday actually on ladder as well. I think it was the same map where I replaced the pylon and I thought it would power it. It's just barely 1 hex too far north. So now Probe can only really use one of those gates right now. I guess he's not too worried about that since he has his wall off up. He's just going to sit at home with those Adepts in the wall and drop that Nexus finally. But the hatchery's already finished for meomaika, and he's going to start droning up really hard while having absolute map control with these speedlings. Probe will not be able to get any more information this entire game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's no way you can get across the map here, except for maybe, so he's going to go for Stargate here, and that's one way to do it. Take to the skies, get across the map there with an Oracle. We see that meomaika has complete scouting information here of Probe's base and complete map control. He sees that Nexus timing, sees an unpowered gateway as well. And yeah, a little bit of an awkward start here for Probe, but we'll continue to play a legitimate game from here on.
That Sentry, of course, going to be something which is kind of like a safety card against a potential Wing Bane bust or something like that. A Force Field can buy you a lot of time. So, the Overlord is not going to actually see the Stargate. Change directions there. Little bit sloppy from meomaika, not going towards that pylon. The Sentry takes forever to kill it, though, so it still has a small chance, but no, not quite going in the right direction.
No, so he's not going to see it.
Yeah.
Unfortunate there. So Probe just finally going to get that second gateway powered up here.
Doesn't really want to be building a pylon right now either, so that's something which, it is an annoyance for Probe to have to spend minerals on that. This is making his build order a lot more awkward than he's used to, and I can tell you, Protoss players don't really like having these build orders messed up that much. This is something which Zerg players throughout Legacy of the Void have realized. If I can mess up the Protoss's ability to do that really crisp double Oracle into 10 Adepts coming in right behind that, or whatever the build choice may be, it becomes very awkward for the Protoss to then time things out to hit an ineffective timing. And with this Twilight Council now going down, it looks like it is the same sort of build from Probe. The question is, will it hit at a fast enough timing? Because I definitely think meomaika is in a far better position this time around.
Oh, absolutely. He's getting that Baneling Nest there, and he's droning up very, very heavily. He does actually have Queens.
Oh,
she's walking out. Where's she going?
She's gone AWOL. The drone's going to go down. Great saves on three of those.
She's enjoying the water. This is one of the wonderful things about Odyssey is it does have those little pools in the middle of the map, but while she gets her toes wet, 3 drones goes down.
3 drones, forcing some buildings which have to be cancelled, and getting the lava on the 3rd as well. There was a great little bit of focus fire. 3 lava went down on the 3rd. Now the Adepts come in as well. These don't have glaives, so Zerglings can deal with them. But where are the Zerglings? They're way out of position. Probe here just going to sit on that ramp, going to say, hey, if you want to surround me, it's going to be a bit tough. Any Zerglings coming down here will have to run past the Oracle's laser beams. This is just fantastic play from Probe as long as he cancels that Adept shade, but he doesn't.
Man. Oh, Probe getting deep here. With the Oracles, maybe they can DPS a lot of this down and trade effectively.
There's no Spore Crawlers still. The Adepts will go down, but the Oracle's doing work here. Just going to start to focus down these drones. And the Queen! Oh no, the Queen! She passed in the wrong direction. She was trying to chase the Oracle, so she was actually stepping further and further off creep. And that brings the grand total up to 9 workers killed. And that gives Probe that 7 worker lead. But can he hang on to the 3rd? That's a lot of angry Zerglings, Maynard.
You killed our mother. They're going to come down here and see what they can get done. The Natural's locked up tight, but the 3rd, not so much. Mothership Core doesn't have anything to overcharge just yet.
Oh, he's going to surround the pylons. But no, just going to get the Nexus, which will work. That'll get the job done. The overcharge, is Probe going to use it? Yes, the Oracle's turning in their laser beam. No overcharge. 3rd does cancel, but where's the overcharge? Finally goes down. A little bit of a delay on that from Probe, but he's going to have to just put that Nexus back down. A lot of minerals floating there for Probe. Big annoyance having to have that cancelled.
Yeah, for sure. So he's got minerals back in the bank. Needs to take that 3rd again, sorry. And he's dropping extra gateways, as well as the Robo getting ready for the mid-game. Oh, meomaika might be able to get another potential cancel here again. Pylons are up at least. Mothership Core with a bit of energy.
Great Adept morph there. It's going to stop the pylons from being surrounded, but the Nexus does have to be cancelled. Zergling count does get lower, though. now Probe is not going to be quite as afraid of that Zergling number. But my gosh, meomaika only at 52 workers, yet already building Hydras in the Hydra upgrade. This is the stuff Protoss Nightmares are made of. These Hydralisks, yeah, it's going to be kind of all in, but there's going to be the fastest possible Hydraling Bane push. And I don't know if Probe's going to be able to defend it. He's only now adding in that unit production that he needs. The gateway is the Robo. And if he gets cancelled again, he's in big trouble.
Well, Baneling's coming in here, and they will get targeted down by the Oracles, but the Nexus getting focused here by meomaika with his Lings, but he actually missed micro a little bit there, and the Lings actually get deflected, and the Nexus looks like it will finish.
I think he would have got that as well.
Yeah.
It would have been close, but definitely that last second, changing the targeting on those Zerglings pulled them away. The Nexus does survive. Probe weathers the first wave of the storm, and this gives his Oracles a chance to go across the map. He says, okay, you just spent all your Zerglings. Now I can get over to your side. And these Adepts and Oracles, there's a lot of Hydras out, a lot of Zerglings, but if they can just spot the Hydras and then pull back, Probe will be in a good position. And who knows, maybe if he finds the right angle, he can just overwhelm the Hydras.
Yeah, Adepts coming in here for round 2, but like you said, these Hydras are pretty good against gateway units and Oracles when in larger numbers.
Ooh, the Zerglings and Hydras are going to come forward. That's a lot of Adepts, but the Hydras are doing so much damage. This is a fantastic surround for meomaika. Catches the Adepts. All of them go down.
Whoa.
meomaika, and now has such a powerful aggressive attack. What can Probe do to stop the counterattack? I'm not sure. meomaika is going to get right over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Probe's consolidating his forces here. He has these Oracles maybe looking for a tag on the army. That said, though, maybe he needs that energy to fight here at this stage because he just doesn't have much on the ground to stop the counterattack from meomaika. Oh, the Phoenix sees all the Banelings being morphed here. He's getting sentries out to try and get the best force fields. He does have quite a few sentries.
I think that's a good choice here. There's going to be a lot of slow Banes and Zerglings coming in, and with just Adepts and Overcharge to defend this, yeah, he's going to need to zone and buy a little bit of time. That Mothership Core! Oh! Ooh. The triple overcharge is good, but it doesn't actually kill that many units. meomaika can wait it out and just come straight on back in. Probe desperately warping in as many Adepts as possible. He's going to need to split well versus the Banelings. Actually warping in at the counterattack, I think that's the wrong decision here. Probe just needs to defend at home, needs to keep this third alive.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's incredibly strong tech here at the front that meomaika can split. And he does deny the Storm here, and also from Templar for being warped in. No Archons here to help defend for Probe. He's just on sentries, Adepts with a single Immortal here to help out.
Oh, the force field energy is very low. The Adepts need to spread. The Banelings coming in deep. They get some massive connections at the same time, and the depth drop in the main is starting to distract meomaika a little bit, but does Probe have the numbers here at home? The Hydra is starting to crash on through. An overcharge goes down at the last second, and with the Immortals, I think Probe just barely has enough to push this back. That Warp Prism escapes as well. Probe, fantastic multitasking throughout.
It's amazing that he's actually still alive in this game, and also with considering that those 4 Adepts weren't made back at home, they were made offensively here. It's blowing my mind that he's still alive here, but that said though, meomaika with a pretty strong army still. He's got to reinforce this with a lot of Lings on the way, Hydras here on the high ground, but Probe in a nice position. He can go between the natural and the third wherever he needs to. Yeah, he's trying to remake that Templar Archives back at home. The natural is open. Ling's getting in here. Hydra's getting caught in a little bit of an awkward position here.
One Immortal does go down, but the Oracle laser beams add in a bit of damage. A lot of Hydras fall. Here come the Banelings. Nice spread from those Adepts. Is it enough? Probe is up against the wall. Another 8 Hydralisks coming from the right-hand side, and I think meomaika has broken him. Equalizes the series 1-1.
Got ourselves a series pick.
Damn.
meomaika putting the hurt back on a Probe there after a disappointing game 1. Game 2, making all the right choices there, and getting a map from Probe. But like we said, it's a good map for meomaika. It's the kind of style he likes to play. He started making his army on, what was it, 50 drones?
Yeah, exactly.
Getting the Hydras and the Lings out with muscular augments.
That momentum, man, as well. It's so funny, right? Because I was like, both Adepts are going to pop out. It's fine. The pylon won't go down. And Probe clearly had that same thought that I did. And then it's like, oh, it's not fine. He gets the pylon. He slows down your Nexus. Like, one of the Adepts gets delayed. You have to pull some probes. It just got really awkward there. So I think Probe's probably kicking himself saying, you know what, why didn't I just have a Probe on hold position in my wall? Maybe put down a pylon and then just cancel it after the Adepts come out.
I thought that's exactly what he was going to do, because he was actually sending that Probe back home while slow Lings were chasing it. And I thought that he was going to hold position there and make sure that those 2 Adepts came out. But yeah, like you said, he maybe got a little bit greedy there. And there's another situation where meomaika, well, not meomaika, but the player that won the game actually dictated how the game was going to go very, very early.
Yeah,
and
both
just
games so far.
continued that momentum. So game 1 was for Probe, game 2 for meomaika. Game 3 is anyone's choice. I have no idea. I can see that meomaika is absolutely pretty incredible in ZVP. Probe, of course, pretty incredible as well. So it's a hard one to predict now. I would have set up the game 1 for sure, Probe. Like game 1 was very one-sided.
I think it's quite map dependent at this point, isn't it? It's going to be very interesting to see what this final map is because, I mean, the new map pool, it is still very new, and it's one of the very different map pools, I would say, in terms of just the space on these maps, the avenues, the paths. It's very different getting used to how to move your army around on these maps.
And it's been quick season turnaround, so it's not like they've had 3 months to play this map pool or anything like that. It's like, you know, they've had, what, 3 weeks?
Exactly.
Something like that to play these maps.
These are the you know, this is the challenger where the champions go through to the Jönköping WCS. Austin was not that long ago, and there's kind of.
I'm still recovering from the cold that I got coming back from that event. So yeah, it's
good that your voice is coming back now and everything as well, dude. Because
I tried streaming without my voice. Like, hey guys, I sound like I did a tweet saying like I sound like Marge's sisters from The Simpsons.
Oh my, that's the moment where you sell out. You're like, guys, you know, I'm raising money for a new voice box. Like, please help us out.
I'm gonna get a laryngectomy. I have to hold the hole in my throat while I stream. I sounded terrible, guys. Don't push yourself and try and play like 4 or 5 hours of ladder a day if you're sick. It's a mistake. I learned a lot of my lessons the hard way, and that was definitely one of them. But all good now, ready for this tournament.
That's when you crack out the co-op, guys.
Yeah, that's right. I got to level Phoenix quite a bit that week that I had off streaming. Anyway, game number 3 here. We haven't seen what map it is just yet. Oh, okay, there we go. It's going to be Ascension to Aya for our final battlefield between these two players. In the bottom right here, winning game number 2. This is meomaika.
Pulling out the moves in that last game, getting some nice momentum early and carrying it on through to a swift victory. Standing in his way, though, the red Protoss player representing OSC Root, last season's Oceanic champion. It is Probe.
That's right. Probe and his brother-in-arm, teammate-in-arm, Igus, going across the pond to get damage done in America. Will they get to go to Jönköping this season? It's actually really exciting to see who goes through here. There's so many big names for our region coming through, and they are world class, and it's going to be really good to see how they do.
So with this build order from meomaika, this is such an odd build order. You never see this timing. This is why Probe miscalculated last game, right? So he's gone a normal Overlord timing on like 13, 14 supply, but then he's just plunked down a gas in a pool anyway before droning on like 14, 15 supply. So normally you'll see like a 12 pool, or you'll see like a 17 gas, 17 pool. This is like halfway in between. So it's one of these things where it's like, it doesn't hit quite as hard as the 12 pool. It's got a bit more of an economic transition, but it's still a very awkward timing to defend from. So Probe seeing this, he's got to be a little bit thrown off with exactly how he should play his reaction. But hey, look, it's this super safe wall off he had last game. As long as he doesn't let the 6 Zerglings in this time around, he should be completely fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So he knows exactly what he's up against, and meomaika knows that Probe knows, and Probe knows that he knows that he knows. So we'll see how it plays out. There's obviously not going to be too many. He's actually getting a Zealot straight away. Not even going to wait for an Adept. So
that's a good choice. So just get out the Zealot. You've seen such a fast gas. Remember last game, the Zerglin speed was out. Probe didn't really get to push out with the Adepts at all. He just sat at home anyway. A Zealot is a cheaper unit, does the same thing, and has a little bit more raw damage output. So actually against like sort of speedling all-ins, sometimes the Zealot does a better job than an Adept. Nice to have it standing there in that choke.
And that Zealot is going to get a nice little buff soon as well, with 100-100 being the cost of charge. Really excited about that change. It's actually my most hyped for change coming up here for the balance.
That Cybercore is very exposed. When he put that down, I was a little bit like, whoa, that's very out there. But since there's 2 gate before Nexus, it's fine. Probe here has actually delayed his Nexus so long, going for 2 Adepts after the Zealot before Nexus. He's
very worried about Link Flood here.
Yeah,
or
ultra safe. I think he might also be a little bit uncomfortable because it is a new map, and I don't know if this is his normal wall-off. He might have just misplaced by a Hex, because you're going to notice the Zealot in the wall-off actually is on a diagonal, and it's really hard to actually make sure your unit's on hold position in the right spot there. If you're like slightly too far forward or back, it's really easy to have the Zerglings just kind of slip on by. So Probe's just being exceptionally careful here in this game. Yeah,
he's also looking for, if there's going to be any kind of drop play from meomaika, which is something that's quite powerful in this map. There's a lot of dead space. Like there's a ramp, sort of like a cliff here, that you can be very abusive with as a Zerg if you're going to go for a drop play. Had it happen to me very, very recently. Doesn't feel good, man.
I think the legacy of the beta Everyone that played against a Zerg ever had that happen literally every single
that actually
game.
blew my mind how quick the Zerg can drop now.
Yeah, your brain breaks,
I was like,
right?
What?
This isn't meant to happen until like 12 minutes in a Heart of the Swarm game, but
unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, very used to it now. And yeah, I mean, we saw Stargate go down here before the Nexus from Probes. He's being as careful as he could possibly be against a very unpredictable player here.
And you know what? meomaika has shifted gears perfectly to respond to this. I've really got to take my hat off to him. What do you do when you see someone going Stargate before Nexus off 2 gates? Well, look at this. He hasn't built any extra Zerglings, just the initial ones. He's just poking around with them, making sure nothing's moving out. And behind this, all he's done is build drones. He's got an extra queen or 2. He's got Spore Crawlers up. If he can just deflect that Oracle completely and absolutely, then he is in a great position, and he knows he can run away with this game. And I'm actually getting a little bit worried for Probe, because this is something we've seen before. The champion player with all the expectation on him goes up against the underdog and then plays too safe, too careful, gets a little bit paranoid, and suddenly ends up not getting the damage done and falls behind without that much interaction actually happening between the players.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This game is so mechanically demanding and also mentally demanding. There's mind games going here for both players. We get the Overlord getting denied here by the single Phoenix. He's getting that second Oracle up. Probe doing pretty much what he wants to do in the game, albeit with the economy slightly delayed here with that later Nexus. He's trying to get the third up, but meomaika made a ton of lings, and he's looking for that Nexus cancel.
That is a big ling flood. The pylon's not going to be ready, and the Oracle just moving away from the base. It will spot some of the Zerglings coming. How quick is Probe's reaction? Not quick enough. That Nexus is going down.
For sure. So that's a denial here by meomaika. Pylon goes out. The Adepts and the Zealots actually coming to meet this Zergling force, trying to kill as many as possible. This Phoenix is actually getting a fair bit of Overlord damage done. There's a lot of big Overlord spread from meomaika.
And just non-stop drones behind this from meomaika. This is so good. I love to see this sort of calculated aggression from an up-and-coming player. Someone who's not just going, just keep building Zerglings and try to kill him. He gets the damage done and he drones behind it. This is the perfect way to play Zerg aggression. And it's really showing a higher level of understanding than I had previously recognized in meomaika's Zerg vs. Zerg. His ZVP is on another level.
Yeah, it's actually showing he's got the potential here of being one of the greats from the region, and he's a new name, all things considered. You know, versus people like Probe and that sort of thing, he is a new name compared to him coming on the scene. So it's nice to see fresh faces in 2017 show high-level play here.
Especially from Vietnam. We haven't really had players historically coming from there in the Southeast Asian and Oceanic region.
We've had Taiwanese players, you know, obviously Chinese is the Chinese region is a lot of players that we're very used to as well.
Yeah. The old days, Singapore was a big powerhouse in the early days of Wings of Liberty.
That's right. Ling run by here going through. We have a Baneling Nest complete for meomaika.
Interesting. Colossi Bay or Disruptor Den, depending on what Probe feels like, has gone down there. The robotic support bay.
There's a lot of violence.
Yeah, just going to force out an overcharge. Good move there from meomaika. Loses a Zergling or 2, wastes some overcharge, keeps the pressure on. And at home, he's up at 58 drones. This is a higher economy than meomaika has had in any of the games. The question is he prepared for this push? And the answer looks like a resounding no so far. The Banelings are almost ready, though. Good drone pull. The Banelings coming in. Those Shades need to get out of there before these Banelings connect.
Banelings connecting with a couple of the Adepts here. They're spreading as well as they can. Looks like a couple of them are going to shade out into the main and get whatever they can get done. They are going in for life here. Only two drones going down.
Spore Crawler in the main. There's no Spore. The Oracles actually turn off their laser beams and run away. I don't think Probe realized there was no Spore there. He actually could have killed quite a few more workers, but nonetheless, causing a bit of chaos in the worker lines of meomaika. Not too bad. So
Probe is trying to get a step ahead of meomaika's plan here. We know that meomaika wants Lingbane Hydra. There's that Hydra Den there as I was finishing my sentence. And Colossus, what are they good against Pig? They're pretty good against Hydralisks, and he's going to get them out 2 at a time from Double Robo here.
Oh yeah, he's going to hit 4 Colossi at such a good timing. Interestingly, we haven't seen the extended Thermal Lance upgrade yet. Of course, Probe is a little bit gas-starved. He's really rushing that Colossi tech incredibly fast. So it is going to be interesting to see if Probe does some sort of timing push. I mean, the way the game's gone so far, and with Probe being a step ahead in the tech, extra gateways going down, I'd love to see a big 3-base push out of Probe. Maybe drop a 4th Nexus behind it, but commit really hard. A lot of Adepts, Stalkers, Sentries, and 4 Colossi. And I don't know how meomaika will stop that.
Every Probe being rallied here, being made by Probe, is actually dying on its way to the 3rd Nexus with his Lings in that position. A little bit annoying for Probe, but does get that Revelation tag on the Lings, so he doesn't have to keep following them around with those Oracles. 9 Hydras on the way here from meomaika, going for his regular, or I guess not even his regular, just Zerg's regular anti-Protoss army. Hydra, Ling, Bane. Muscular Augment's halfway done, but we know, and meomaika is not aware of here, that there is a big, scary robotics tier 3 unit on the way that he's going to have to deal with soon. And it's not like we've seen a Spire or anything like that. He's pretty unaware of this.
I love the way the Colossi are being hidden in the back by Probe. That's so awesome, just in the back of the natural.
Yep.
He's just sitting them there, rallying them to the back, not going to show them until all 4 get together. And yeah, meomaika has no idea. He's just like, okay, Hydra Bane, let's go for a big push. And this is kind of the last thing you want to do, I think, against someone who's got 4 Colossi and extended thermal lance finishing right as your push hits. If Probe lands good force fields, meomaika is going to get thrashed in this next engagement.
Absolutely. Extended Thermal Lance is going to finish just in time. Oracle's here, seeing that the push is moving through the middle of the map. Some Lings getting around, but everything's locked down pretty tight here in Protoss Town. And there is those Colossus. Ooh, just warping in time here. No, the Lings are actually trickling in. This is actually going to upset Probe a little bit here as the Lings getting into the main. Colossus have been spotted, and meomaika is pressing the issue here.
meomaika on the 3rd at the same time, but the stasis trap traps a lot of the Zerglings, creates a force field of Zerglings, and actually slows down the Hydra Bane army from getting to the 3rd economy. Nonetheless, 10 probes have gone down, these Zerglings causing a good amount of damage, and meomaika now knows what he's up against. The question is, what does he do against this? It looks like still just non-stop Hydra Bane seems to be the answer for meomaika. He's going to be looking for flanks, surrounds, and good Baneling detonations on those supporting gateway units.
For sure, and Probe on the other hand is going to be looking for good force fields and good splash damage from these Colossi, which are out in number now. There's quite a few of them here. None of them went down in that attack. 6 Colossi here. And another one, there's that 5 there with a 6th one joining in, and he's got a bunch of gateways done. He's got a Warp Prism out now, and he is going to press this issue with the Warp Prism to reinforce.
6 Colossi is a very scary number, but a lot of the force field energy was used up, and oh my gosh, both armies are crossing each other.
Stuff's gonna get weird.
Yeah, I don't think either one knows. Only now does meomaika see the Protoss army in the middle of the map, and meomaika is about to hit the 3rd as well. We are about to have a bit of a base trade on our hands, and I don't know who's going to come out on top of this. I don't believe there's DT tech in play, and Probe is actually going to pull back saying, oh gosh, the one way I might lose against a Zerg is a base trade, so he's going to evacuate those probes. He's already got a new 3rd base up on the other side, and if his army can get back here, remember, no Baneling speed still.
Yeah, I actually love this decision from Probe. I think this is the right choice here. Try and crush this army with that 3rd Nexus still back at home. He killed the hatchery as well before coming home, so this is a nice position if he manages to catch meomaika and actually kill a lot of his army here, but will he catch him?
Great revelation here. Those Banelings and Hydras trying to waddle home, but they're not really finding their way back. Queen just barely survives there.
So you do not have Resonating Glaives yet?
Yeah, no, not many upgrades this game. Only Blink, actually. Of course, that early game was so messy. I guess he never really got a chance to get up to it.
Interesting. Oh, the Colossus doing the awkward dance here. They're getting stuck on the minerals. Shout out to Zelnaga Caverns for
my gosh,
some of those awkward Colossus dance.
Behind the gold minerals and everything. Oh man, that map was brutal.
May it rest in pieces. We got the 3rd here with a pylon. Nice number of pylons and a cannon as well. Going to make it tough to run by here from meomaika. Meanwhile, the heavy hitting Protoss army is here. And there's not a ton of units here for meomaika.
A couple Archons are going to be getting in there as well. Such great meat shields. So many force fields here. Colossi are going to eat a couple of Spore Crawler shots, but they don't really mind right now. The force fields are good. The Spore Crawlers are going down. Oh, the Hydra Bane does come up, but there's such a tight area. There's just no way to get on top of Probe's army for meomaika.
Oh, man. The force field's making things very, very tough for him. He's not even in range of all of these Colossus. And there's not like there's lurkers or anything here. Oh, this is very nice for meomaika if he gets a bunch of probes here.
Nice run by. Cleans up over 20 probes there, and Probe is down to just 30 workers. But yeah, that's the problem there, Maynard, isn't it? 6 Colossi. Of course, they've got 9 range. 50% more range than those Hydralisks, because they can just blast down that AoE lasers from afar, roast up everything. The Archons there still providing a great meat shield. meomaika goes for Probe, jumps on top of the army, but the Colossi get out of there, and there are so many flaming Hydralisk corpses left in their way.
Yeah, they're still high in number. The Gateway Force is starting to go down. One Colossus is going to get picked up by this Hydra count. Still many more Colossus where that came from. A blink forward by Probe.
That's just it.
Yeah,
there's
just too much.
Too many units there. meomaika could not hang on with this Hydra Bane composition. The decision for Probe to not go in with the base trade and to pull home turned out to be the right one. Probe showing his class here despite yet another bit of an awkward early game, comes back, cleans it up, and takes the 2-1 victory.
GG. Very hairy there for the Season 1 champion. Very, very close to going down to meomaika, one of the fresh faces, the new additions from Vietnam. So that means that meomaika is going to go down to the losers bracket, and Probe's going to continue his reign of terror. Protoss laser beams, flaming corpses everywhere through that winner's bracket there.
You know, it's a good warm-up there for Probe as well. Having a messy game like this where things actually really force you to make some hard decisions in the heat of battle, I think that's actually something which bodes well for Probe in the next round. He's not going through with an easy win to face a really hard opponent. I think it's just going to ramp up from here. As you go through, every round is going to become more difficult.
That's right. Hopefully his mentality is looking pretty good here and pretty healthy as we continue with the round of 16. Guys, I'm going to go a short break, and then when we return, we're going to have more games. We'll see you then.